They are. Well, let's call this to order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner K. Mitchell,
Here.
Commissioner M. Mitchell, Commissioner Trejo,
Here.
Vice Chair Lozano,
Here.
Chair Muse.
Here. I would love for you to do Pledge of Allegiance. Since I'm looking at you, I'd like to, Mr.
Everyone,
Mitchell,
please
everybody's
stand
pledge.
with your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Donna. Thank you. Okay, well, I guess we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Everybody got a copy of that?
Yeah, I'll approve it.
I'll second.
Commissioner K. Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Trejo,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lozano,
Yes.
Chair Muse.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. All right. Oh, good evening, everybody.
Oh, sir, can we do the minutes as well?
Yeah, do we miss that? Oh, yeah, almost did. Yep, let's do minutes, sorry. My mind's still racing. All right. Can we get
Okay.
approval on the minutes?
Okay, the minutes.
I'll move that we approve the minutes.
And I'll second that.
Commissioner K. Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Trejo,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lozano,
Yes.
Chair Muse.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right. Now I'd like to welcome everybody this evening. Hey, thank you for showing up, everybody, and I guess we're missing one commissioner. And at this time, do we have any speakers? Do we have any cards, anything, anybody?
We do not.
All right, I make motion to go ahead and move on to our first report.
Which is
Which is,
code
Good.
compliance.
almost perfect.
So for the month of March, code compliance received a total of 155 service requests. We completed 413 total inspections. We issued 120 courtesy notices of violation. We issued 41 citations totaling $75,200. We removed 54 shopping carts from the public right-of-way, and there was 9 inspections performed by the overnight STVR officers. Code compliance trained 2 new code compliance officers that will focus on overnight short-term vacation rental enforcement. Code compliance officer Messer issued 4 administrative citations to individuals that were caught illegally dumping trash throughout the city. Code compliance officer Linda Human passed her California Association of Code Enforcement Officers substitute service exam. Code compliance officer Messer received an abatement warrant for an abandoned mobile home located on Sycamore Drive. The property owner removed the mobile home before the city could demolish. Officer Messer received an inspection warrant for 66022 Desert View Avenue and abated all immediate safety issues via summary abatement. Officer Messer received a demolition warrant for 68175 Club Circle Drive. Code compliance officer Human had a hearing for a property on 8th Street. The hearing was for an administrative citation appeal. Officer Human won the hearing. Code compliance received an abatement warrant to demolish 3 properties at the Sahara Hotel, and an additional property began demolition at the Sahara Hotel via summary abatement. Abandoned vehicle was removed by Officer Chafin. She towed the vehicle from 6th Street. This vehicle was deemed inoperable and a nuisance to the surrounding neighborhood. And Code Compliance Officer Keith Sarton obtained consent to abate a tree from the public right-of-way on 1st Street.
Thank you.
All right, I'll go ahead, I'll start that off. First, congratulations to Officer Human on passing her examination. I'm sure that's a relief to have that behind her. I'm pleased to find out that the Club Circle Drive property and the Sahara properties, that we're moving ahead with, taking care of those hazards, especially, coming from my background being fire. Those are kindling, waiting to be torched, and we don't want that to happen. So the last comment was the 413 inspections. Now, 413 inspections, 31 days, so that's what, 12 or 13 inspections a day? And how's your staffing? Oh, I did have one other question regarding training the 2 new code compliance, you can disregard that last one. The 2 new code compliance officers for short-term vacation rental enforcement, are those members of the private concern that we've contracted to, or are those within our own sworn officers that are taking care of that?
So, no, these are going to be contract employees, but they're not from the iSecurum team.
Okay, all right. I think I've expressed a desire before to have iSecurum come here and make a short presentation about who they are and, the scope of their practice and things, and hopefully we can get that in the works soon. But otherwise, good job, thank you.
Well, I'm always pleased to see the before and after pictures. They're always really good. Such a lot of work. I'm surprised at 54 shopping carts. I thought that they put kind of locks on them so they couldn't move, or I'm just dreaming.
They do have locks on them. They should all have locks on them. So every shopping center is required to have a shopping cart containment plan. Most of them have turned it in. We're almost complete to 100% on that. But people still figure out how to remove these carts.
And then I thought then that if you have a shopping cart, we see them moving their whole condominium, where are they putting it? I guess I thought that they were keeping those, to have all of their things in there. So when you get these shopping carts, are they empty?
These shopping carts are typically empty.
And you don't go up to someone and say, I want that back?
No, we wouldn't do that.
Okay, all right. A tough job, but you guys are doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Same here. I want to congratulate you guys. I mean, it's a great job on the before and after pictures. I did see on social media that there's actually citizens turning in pictures of cars dumping stuff. And that brought me to a question. Before, I used to see big dumpsters in different sections of the city, and so that people can go and throw their trash there. Did that not work, or?
As long as I've been working, I have no knowledge of that.
Oh, well, because I probably like before COVID, I saw a couple of dumpsters, one by the corner of Hacienda and Desert View. There was a big dumpster there where people used to go and throw their stuff there, and I think that would avoid, but then I don't know who put it there, but it was there.
I think that was the property owner when they were clearing out that house right there, the corner house.
And would something like that work so that people won't go and dump stuff at the desert, or?
That's definitely a good thought, something I can bring up to the compliance director.
Thank you.
Hi there. So I got a couple questions for you, Mr. Messer. First thing is, I said you guys are doing STVR inspections. So an inspection regarding on STVRs, I mean, what's all in the detail in that? And also, I mean, I think I was speaking with you not too long ago about, so anybody who's running an STVR, they must obviously have to have a license, but inspections as well, is that prior or after?
What's an SVT?
Yeah.
Explain what SVT is.
Oh, short-term rental, sorry.
Yeah, so they would have to have the inspection prior to getting their license, and if they're caught operating without the license, it's a $5,000 citation.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that on the first offense, or?
It's on the first offense.
Wow. Well, thank you for answering that. And in inspections, I mean, is it general? Now, is it just a general inspection that you're aware of, that they have to maintain for, public safety, their well-being and all that?
We have a checklist that we go off of, but we're going to encompass everything. And since it is a short-term vacation rental, it's going to be a lot more strict. They're going to have to put up noise monitoring devices inside the house in order to pass. And there's a whole slurry of lists out there, of items out there that they have to meet that a typical resident wouldn't have to meet.
What about parking?
Parking, so the way our code reads right now, the parking is you're only allowed to park as many vehicles as the property is designed for. So if you have a 2-car garage and you can fit 2 cars in the driveway, you'd be allowed to have 4 cars, but you should not be doing off-site parking.
Wow,
Oh,
wow, I never knew.
I didn't know that
That's
myself.
new. Well, thank you so much. That's all I had. You guys are doing, and I don't know who this, Mutzer? He's doing a great job there, all these citations, Mr. Messer. Thank you.
That $75,000 is the month, current month.
Yes.
A lot of money.
Right, is that all?
That's all I have.
That's all I have. All right, well, we can move on to item number 2. That'd be animal control staff. Hey, Officer Zamora.
Yes, so for the month of March, we had 62 intakes. Of those, we returned 21 back to the owners. We sent 5 off to rescues, and 14 were adopted. 1 dog was sent to CVAC, and that was only for a bite quarantine, which does not, charges do not get put onto the city. It's to the owner. We took 27 animals to the vet. We had 18 dead upon arrivals, whether we picked them up off the street or they were brought into the shelter. We unfortunately had to euthanize 3 due to severe medical issues. We did 48 licenses, 33 admin citations, 33 warning citations, and we had 191 calls for service. And we also had the Animal Action League bus that comes at least once a month to our property, and they spayed and neutered approximately 30 animals.
Wow. That's a lot of work. When you euthanize, do we do it here in our,
Oh, we take them to a veterinary hospital.
oh, okay. And they were too sick, is that what the deal, oh, okay.
Yeah, sometimes they're hit by cars or they have
Oh.
a severe medical condition that is, they're just too far to help get them back to
Were
a
there,
healthy state.
were there owners?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, licenses, that's a nice amount of licenses.
Yeah, we're getting a lot more, just due to, us getting out there with the citations and the warning citations and letting people know.
Okay. 191 calls for service, that's how many a day? 30 days, 31 days? That's a lot.
We average about 12 to 15 a day, probably.
That's a lot, and when you get these calls, do you go to their homes?
It depends what the call for service is.
okay.
It could be loose dogs, barking dogs. It just depends what the
Okay.
call for service is.
I'm good, I'm real proud of our veterinarian, or our animal control. Thank you very much.
When the dogs are returned to the owner, is there anything that we're currently doing so that we can make sure that those dogs don't escape again?
Absolutely. So, majority of the times, the dogs that we get in our shelter are not microchipped. It's a state mandate that every dog that gets returned back to the owner has to be microchipped. And then we also give them, regardless of how the dog was loose, we give them a warning citation for, we educate them as to how the dog got loose, the breed, certain things correlate into that. And then we'll educate, and then we'll also have them license their animal with the city.
So what if their yard is not properly equipped to keep the dog inside? Do we do anything about that or not really?
So it depends if, we get with code enforcement, if it's, like a dilapidated fence or the fencing has a hole in it,
Okay.
we'll work with code enforcement on that aspect. As far as their, them not having a proper yard to secure their dog, they can have them inside. They can take them
Okay.
for several walks a day. Nobody says that you have to have like a full backyard in order to have an animal, as long as they're taking proper care of that animal.
Okay. And to that same question, so for the, because I did notice here that, let's see, where is it? The adoptions, it's 14 that we had, but do you find that some of those adoptions get taken back to the shelter?
No, we've had one adoption returned,
Okay,
and that was due to, unfortunately, medical issues on the person who adopted.
okay. And then how's your staffing? I did see that there's a position open and it's gonna close on the 1st, but do you have any prospect candidates on that, or?
So we did hire one more animal control officer who is now
Okay.
out in the field off of training. So we have 3 currently, and we are still trying to gain another one.
Okay. Well, if you guys do an excellent job, like Sean Rosano said, but you guys do an excellent job, and if there's anything we can do to help,
Have people adopt our dogs
Yeah.
out of our shelter.
I'm looking for a teacup.
They're very hard to come by,
I'm
little
sure.
dogs.
I'm sure.
Commissioner Mitchell?
No comments at this time. Congratulations, you're doing a very good job.
Thank you, sir.
Nothing really to say, just, I'm glad you guys are, doing a great job, on animal control. And I would definitely love to see public get more involved with more volunteering to help you guys, because I know it really, there's a big need for that. And thank you for all you guys do, over there, animal control. And really have thing, now, do you guys host any, like, as far as, are you hosting any adoption, or if somebody really wants to get an animal, is there anything out in the public?
So I'm very active on social media. I post the dogs when they become available, or if they come in stray. Majority of the time, they'll go up on our Facebook page or through emails that I will send out. Or if I see through social media that somebody's lost a dog and I recognize it, then I'll contact that owner via social media. And that's primarily how we get our dogs back to the owner or get them adopted.
And one last question, snakes, we're coming into
That's right.
season. Do you guys handle snake calls?
Rattlesnakes,
Are you
yes.
rattlesnakes as well? Okay.
Yes.
So that might be a good safety topic, just, for general public, walking and stuff to bring up. That is a concern. Do you guys see much of that, or?
We do. They're primarily, we find them in their backyards, coiled up, sometimes on rocks because they like the heat of the rocks. So you'll find them in the rock kind of part of the area of the yard, or they're just slithering by. But yeah, we ask people not to touch them, and then we'll go out.
Is
and
there any
get them.
particular area more, maybe the hill area versus flat ground?
It's more of the desert, off the desert kind of area, not
Okay.
primarily
That's good
in
to
the like residential. It's
Yeah.
more.
I know they like that bush. It looks like pussy willows at the top. When those are wild bushes, but I know that they like to go in there because he had one.
Yeah.
But also there's the other snake, and I know it's harmless. I can't remember what,
California King,
red somebody,
Red Racer.
and they're around, correct?
We don't see those a
Oh.
lot.
Oh,
It's
okay.
mainly rattlesnakes during the summer,
Oh, really? Okay.
or gardener snakes.
Well, thank you so much.
So just one final
Oh, go
thing.
ahead.
So when, like for the different events that we would have, for example, these, I think that building that we're gonna paint, color, I don't know why. But do you ever go there with like an adoption, with pets to adopt, or is that an option that we can probably look at when there's events, so we can have like an adoption clinic or something like that?
Oh, we can definitely look into that.
I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, that's all. right, I'd like to move on to item number 3, Fire Department Monthly Report.
Hi there, I'm Timothy Bingham. I'm one of the battalion chiefs, so I'm sitting in for Chief Beverly tonight. He's at a commitment elsewhere.
Okay.
Just wanted to say hello. So your incidents, 471 incidents occurred in the month of March. Little feedback. So 471 incidents. The engine company responded out of the jurisdiction 77 times, and we received mutual aid from other resources into the city 327 times. That includes 2 responses from the ladder truck out of Palm Desert. Then the engine companies here participated in 4 community events the past month. That was reading with the kids twice, a community function at a, I don't know what they called it, but kind of a public safety thing that one of the housing tracks did. The engine company went and stood by out there. And then the third one was a career day at one of the schools. So they've been pretty active, not only responses, but community involvement. Average response time of 4.8 minutes. Very happy when we see those numbers.
Right, yeah, it's great.
Doing well. Any questions for me?
I just don't know how you do it. It's
Are these statistics
amazing.
now including 36?
Yes.
We discussed at the last meeting.
My understanding, yes. I know it was asked, when I kind of was looking at these numbers, I was going, I believe that includes engine 36. So my understanding is yes, but I'm not definitive. Chief Beverly will have a better answer on that.
Okay, okay. And there they are. I'll probably have another question later, but I'll defer to my other commissioners until that one comes back up.
This is just for my understanding, because I was trying to make sense of the average en route to on-scene times. And how does that correlate to the incident response activity or the mutual aid? Because I was trying to run the numbers and I couldn't, or does that have anything to do with those numbers?
I do not believe your mutual aid received numbers are in there. That is for your city fire engines in
Okay.
your jurisdiction.
Okay. And then for the percentage of 0 to 5 minutes, is there a like a benchmark of what it needs to be, whether it's county-wise or state-wise?
The 4.5 minute mark is
Okay.
probably the best. There's some NFPA standards. I don't know with the expansion of how expansive the city is, if that they use that criteria, but that 4.8 is a very good
That's an excellent
benchmark.
number. Good job. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just looking at the mutual aid given, 77. What exactly are you doing?
So what happens is engine 36 and engine 37, because a large amount of activity will bring in the Sky Valley fire engine comes in pretty frequently,
Oh,
and then the Thousand Palms, the Cavazon engine. A lot of fire engines will come up here on a very high call period, high incident period. And then conversely, engine 37 will go into Sky Valley pretty regularly. 36 goes up into assist San Bernardino County and Morongo. So those are our mutual aid. 77 times we had those resources come into the city.
wow. Thank you. I'm good.
I think our fire department's doing an amazing job.
Absolutely.
You know, I can't really say much more, but I did have a question about, did we not have a 3-ring fire? Is that from a homeless camp the other day? Can you maybe elaborate on that? There was a brush fire over down off of, there was
I'm
trucks
aware
come
of the
from Cat
incident,
City.
and I was, when I sat down here, I go, I never got a good turnover. I don't know the cause of it, but it did occur in areas where we've had frequent homeless fires.
And so that would be, when we call Cathedral City and stuff like that, that's what we're calling that 3, am I right? I'm Commissioner Mitchell, 3-ring, what, how do they judge what kind of fire it is?
3
as far
alarms.
as status, yeah, 3 alarms.
Yeah,
Sorry,
okay.
I'm not a fire.
Yeah, it is, you get a set number of resources for the type of incident, and then as you duplicate those, that's another alarm. getting the same amount. And that's where we will pull Cathedral City, Palm Springs, all the other county fire engines. And this one went pretty large. They pulled in quite a bit of engines into there. They did structured defense because of the winds and the fire burning towards those
Yes.
commercial properties.
Well, you guys got it out pretty good. I mean, amazing job. I was like really impressed because I have rentals right around there, and I'm like, "You guys safe?" He goes, "Yeah, the fire department's on it." So, thank you guys for all you do. That's all I had.
They have fun in this city. They enjoy their jobs. There's some good service delivery from these employees.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to item 4, Commander Chang.
Good evening. For the month of March, the total events we had was 3,156, which is 2,160 total calls for service, 950 officer initiated, and 46 accidents. The type of different events for that month was 407 traffic stops, 332 building checks, 166 vehicle checks, and 45 pedestrian checks, totaling 950. Total amounts of arrests for the month of March was about 80, and total citations were 344. Crime statistics is, for the month of March, we have 1 homicide, 1 kidnapping, 4 thefts from buildings, 12 from motor vehicles, aggravated assault 8, simple assault 7, vandalism 6, burglary 4, property offenses 3, and weapons violations 6, and motor vehicle theft 8.
Wow. It is, yeah. I have to admit that I never see you guys, but you're doing a fabulous job. I was coming home I was coming home late and on Palm Drive, and I can't remember what it was, last week. And it was very late, and there were the police there. I don't know what you all were doing, but you were, stopping people and everything. But when I rolled up, all the guy did was, bye, like get lost. And I don't know what was happening there. Do you recall? It was late. It was, usually I know when you're doing the drunk driving stops and everything. And I pulled up, I stopped like they wanted me to, and he just went, bye. It's okay, bye.
Yeah, we had a DUI checkpoint this past Friday and also another checkpoint in March.
Oh, maybe that was it Friday, yeah. Well, how did he know I wasn't drunk? I don't drink. But I mean, it was rather humorous because I pulled up, I stopped like he said, and he said, bye. I know he didn't recognize me because I didn't recognize him, but I just thought it odd, but that was good. Everyone was doing their job, I appreciate you all very, very much, and I thank everything that you do. And I'm sorry we have troubles, but troubles are everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to second that. Overall crime is trending down, and that's really good for the city. I mean, you're almost like, 40% down from January, so that's really good. That's really good to commend. On the other page, I saw that, actually, was on this one. Hold on. I saw that the one that did go up was that from motor vehicles, and that's mainly education from people, right? That we need to be educated on how to take care of our belongings and ourselves. But I was thinking about, I actually went to out of state, and I saw this in this state that they had this they had this system where the residents were able to opt in to either text or email, and the police department used that email or text periodically to give to recommend things on how to be safe. And is there anything implemented here like that, or?
No, not that in my knowledge,
What-
nothing through text or email, but we do put out safety tips through our social media pages.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, great job. I mean, it looks, the crime's going down, and that's really good. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to extend gratitude to Deputy Chief Shaw, yourself, Commander, and the the dispatch staff for the tour that we just took of the dispatch center. It's very impressive. You know, you can take a bit of pride in being the first cloud-based dispatch center in the state of California, my understanding. And perhaps in the near future, we did get a pretty comprehensive explanation of the duties of the dispatchers that are working there. But just how exactly cloud dispatches work, it might be beneficial to have maybe one of your dispatchers come here and maybe educate the commission at large as to just how that works, since we're the innovators, in that area statewide, which it's going to be a position, it's going to be an arrow in our quiver, something to be proud about. I did notice on the statistics, and I believe I'm looking at the NIBRS part here, that while motor vehicle thefts are down, but thefts from motor vehicles are up, and I think I'm going to echo Commissioner Trejo in that we'll do what we can here to get the message out. People need, lock your car doors, raise your windows. I've said it in previous meetings. It was one of the things I didn't understand. Growing up in a city, that was common knowledge. You leave your car, you lock your door, you roll your windows up, you take everything out of sight, and there's actually people that's a source of pride to them. I don't have to lock my doors. I don't have to lock my windows. What? That's like 2 + 2 = 5 to me. So, whatever we can do to get our citizens to be a little bit more objective and commit to their own safety, if we can get those numbers back down into the single digits, which is where they were before. But otherwise, again, very impressive tour of your station, and it's not done. We're looking forward to it to be finished, and for the public safety campus to be finished, so we can make some improvements to the fire station as well. Thank you.
I was going to save my comments regarding dispatch on my report, but I too want to compliment. I was really impressed with dispatch. It's set up beautifully, and June Casey, I believe her name is, just explained everything perfectly well, and I'm going to myself, by their invitation, to sit in there, one day for a few hours and just see how it all happens. And I just think it's an amazing thing. It's a hard, real job to assess, a distress call. And I just appreciate the people that we did meet were wonderful. And I don't know, I just think it's wonderful because the dispatch, that's where the fire department comes through as well, right? The fire calls come through our dispatch center.
They relay from there to the fire
Correct.
dispatch and
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we get an initial call and transfer to CAL FIRE.
Well, I really enjoyed it and was very impressed, and I couldn't do it. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commander Chang. Just one note, what I was talking, Commissioner Mitchell, and I think we brought it up at our last meeting about, I think with everything going on here, and the last time we had a conversation with the deputy chief, he did mention protecting your vehicles, keeping them locked, and, lighting and all that stuff, and which I'll be trying to, in the future, something we might want to think about is really pushing for that national night out with the police and the fire, and and getting people really involved, how they could come together, as well as maybe doing a community policing, what we used to do with the city and the police department, so they know the chains, and dispatch would be one of them, like Commander Chain. I mean, he's in charge of the officers. I mean, each thing, like the service has its own function, and so that's something I would like to definitely look at. But as far as our numbers, I think our numbers definitely, they've moved down. Not as much traffic stops. I mean, just one question, Commander Chang. So 407, does that mean people aren't speeding or, driving loosely all over? Because 407, I mean, we had 590 stops in January, but now we're at 407. So no, people are still running stop signs and everything else. But Why would you, is that just we're not seeing it, or?
Should be probably more calls for service, or the month of January probably had more Office of Traffic Safety details.
Oh,
There could
okay,
be a
okay.
different variation for that.
All right, and then I think next month will be, I believe the DC is going to be talking on, as far as manpower, and I know, I didn't want Commander Chain to bring it up, but they've got a lot of good stuff coming up. I'll let Deputy Chief talk about that coming up, so
Right.
that's all I have. Thank you. All right,
Good.
well, shall we move on to the Commissioner's report? Who would like to start?
I'll start. I was going to talk about dispatch, but I already did. The only question I have is, well, I did have, first of all, why did they make a right turn only on Pearson and Palm? And it's dumb, in my opinion, and we're not that big that we needed that. And now I see that that sign is taped up, so it's no longer there. That's my question to somebody. Is it not going to happen anymore? I hope it does not. It was not a smart move, in my opinion.
Commissioner Lozano, I could speak with the Public Works Director to reach out to you.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, and that's all I have.
I just had a couple of things. One, for the, I see that due to the rain, there's a lot of bushes and that are grown tall enough that they're covering the stop signs. One example is in the corner of Desert View and Miracle Hill. Both ways, if you drive on both of those, the stop sign, you can see it once you're at the stoplight, and that's I've had a couple of people that that I know that have mentioned to me that's a safety issue. And I was wondering if that's gonna if there's something in the works to take care of that.
That would be probably the county transportation,
Also,
the city.
Okay,
Yes, I can forward this along.
okay, thank you. Okay, and then the other one is also for the with all the rain also, and I know there's especially right now. I think I saw a couple of brush fires, and especially when with the summer coming on. I know it's gonna be pretty hectic for you guys. So that's
We have more fuel loading than we've had in the early 90s, I think.
yeah.
Yes, I think your inspections will be in full force, and that your abatement inspections will be starting here
Oh, nice.
real quick, and that'll be correlated with the inspector and then the city staff.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, well, we did mention the dispatch tour, so we'll move on from that. Just a couple of things that were mentioned in previous meetings that hopefully we can move forward on a couple of them. One is a carryover from last year. I believe it was Councilmember Betts brought it up. It was taking this meeting and this forum on the road. Actually taking it out of the council chambers and maybe to a public facility or a donated private facility, and in so doing, maybe entice some more members of the public to attend the meetings and, voice their concerns about, police, fire, anything public safety related. And it might be, it might be advantageous to talk to Mr. McVeigh or to Gerald because of the logistics involved and what would have to take place in order for voting and, televising the meeting, access, recording everything. So if we could discuss that in coming days, that'd be a good idea, I think. Another thing that was brought up, and this was right when our city council our commission was impaneled, is that I believe it was Councilmember Gardner brought up the idea of a liaison from our body to the city council, and that maybe we would give them either a semi-annual or a quarterly update on what we're doing and why. And if that would we appoint someone to do that? Would that fall under the jurisdiction of the chair or the vice chair? How would we approach that?
That would be Gerald or Dan. I wouldn't even know whether we'd have to talk to
We
the
did.
attorney, or I'm not sure how
Mhm.
that would even.
Yeah, I could speak to the city manager's office and move that forward.
We did do that. We appointed, it was, I forget who with last time. And it's like every council member, commissioner, had a turn. Every month, we would go to the city
Mhm.
council meeting and say what was happening. And if they could help us on anything, that type of thing.
Okay.
And then we did it, and then it didn't happen anymore. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Councilmember Gardner was aware of that it happened in the past. I don't know when
I
his
don't
tenure
think he
began.
was around, yeah. then,
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, maybe we can discuss how to move forward on that item as well.
yeah, we took turns and appeared.
Okay. And the last thing I had was just, it was an item I was working on. I was looking forward to Chief Beverlin being here, so I'm going to have to put it off until the next time I see him. It's an event that's sponsored by the International Association of Firefighters called Fire Ops 101. And I was going to try and bring that to this city. And what it is we would actually have our elected officials and, maybe our appointed officials, anybody else, that would actually spend a day as a firefighter, to go out to a training center. They would put on the protective clothing, the PPE, the SCBAs. They'd go in and perform a fire suppression exercise and a victim rescue, maybe an emergency medical call, maybe a vehicle extrication, maybe a WMD hazmat event. Because of the logistics involved, it's probably best to, schedule this out a few months in advance, and then we have to take into account the weather. We're going into the blast furnace type of time of year, but I've got some literature available for him and a website he can look at, and perhaps looking forward to an audience with him to discuss exactly if this is something he wants to do and how to go about it, and that's all I got.
All right, just something I would like to share real quick. I had the privilege of meeting with one of our city engineers and obviously Nick, our deputy director for the city, and obviously our councilman for our area, which would be Councilman Gardner. And just wanted to say, give a big shout out to them for doing a great job. I live in an area where it's over near the high school where we do get between Cholla and Villa Redo where we get, traffic and, it's nonstop from Pearson to Flora or Pearson to Flora on Villa Redo on either streets. And, the speed limit, never really been posted. You can see one. So they sent a crew out to do a survey. And, most people, I know there's a lot of hot areas in our city, whether, we want a stop sign. And I really just thought, well, why can't we just throw a stop sign? And if anybody's ever interested, this is for the public, of maybe getting a stop sign in the area, because, they really do an in-depth study. And I brought what it takes to even do it. And it's kind of like, it's a red tape. It's kind of out of their hand. But what we did find out and what we did resolve, because this would be a long story, but we're able to get now in areas that needed, like extra signs, speed limit signs, and and they're also looking at these, they're called bump cushions, like not speed humps, but I guess bump cushions, where fire trucks and police vehicle, anything big can go over it and it won't slow it down, but it will slow another car down. Because again, I think, school areas need to be, they need to be safe. And I got, in my area, people are always walking on the sidewalk, walking their dogs and everything. And all I wanted is, hey, can we get some stop signs? But, if anybody's interested in really talking to, I guess, the deputy director or city engineer, that's where you would really need to approach it first. Not so much police, not so much fire or whatever, but, and obviously talk to your local councilman, because they did an amazing job, and we're getting extra signs now, and they're gonna stripe it. And signage makes a difference. That officer can see, hey, this guy's doing 50 and a 25, obviously, we know. But that's all I had, just wanted to bring this out. But it was a great opportunity to meet with the deputy director again and councilman and really sit down, because, as public safety commissioners, this was really concerning, because again, we have a lot of people in our area walking, and so that's all I had.
I had one more thing. When we took the tour of dispatch, Deputy Chief Shaw took us around the police department and showed us what do you call it? Things have been done to improve the whole place, and I was very impressed, and I wanted to thank him for showing us around, and things are just moving wonderfully, and I enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
And lastly, is there a copy of that document available? Is that, can it be downloaded, or?
Get a copy of this, yeah. And this is for our area. I mean, you can just see just the, you can see just the work that goes into that. And I asked him to bring it there. I just need this back page, but, yeah, you're welcome. We can make some copies, and yeah, there's definitely copies. It's a really in-depth study, what it takes just for stop signs.
Right.
I wasn't asking for much, but I just thought, I just have the city throw them up. No, it's more than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more. And, you know,
Sure.
It's just as much as, yes. Yeah,
It's a
so-
frequent question that's brought before the commission.
It is, and that's why I said I wanted to bring it up, because I had the opportunity to sit down with the councilmen and the deputy directors, and, you know, they did a fantastic job explaining and full, you know, presentation, and, you know, if anybody's interested, say, we need stop signs in this area, this is the time, you know, these are the people to talk to in our city, so.
Sure. All right, great,
Yeah,
thank you.
I'll get you guys copies. All right, well, I'd like to call this meeting to adjourn. Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody.